Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the W2 Prison Break Show. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join us. And I just wanted to remind everyone that we are on YouTube and then also on all your favorite listening devices, Spotify, Apple, Anchor, you name it, anywhere where you want to listen to a podcast, it'll be there. Today it's just going to be me. We're going to do another solo cast. So we're going to keep it brief, but I have some thoughts to share with you today. And I'll be doing a lot of these solo casts, sharing my stories, sharing some insight, the personal experiences that I had as I went through my journey of leaving my W-2. Again, it took me 25 years. I was in corporate sales for 25 years before I was finally able to break free just a few years ago. So let's dive into today's topic, which is I want to give you some encouragement and some advice on how to create small wins. I think that most people, when they're writing down their goals or they're thinking about their goals, they're so big. As an example, I want to quit my job and become a millionaire. That's a very, very common goal. And it's so large, it seems like it might be unattainable. And I get that because that exact goal was floating around in my head for so long, I can't even begin to tell you how long. It was probably 2 decades. And it wasn't until I really started to kind of break it down to a daily situation, creating small wins on a daily basis. I had to learn that. Look, you can't chop the whole tree down in one day. You'll hear me say this ad nauseum, so forgive me now, but you cannot. You cannot chop that big of a tree down in one day. So especially if you're hacking at it a little bit at a time, right? Which is the idea. That's the idea, creating these small wins on a daily basis. And if you can win a bunch of days and stack a bunch of good days together, then you can really start creating some momentum, creating habits, having your life change, and then your goals, you'll start crushing them. You'll start knocking those trees down, if you will. So how do we create small wins on a daily basis? I'm going to give you some tips on how you can do that. And I'm going to relate it to my real estate business, but I want you to think about what it is that you want to do in your life. And not everyone's going to be a real estate investor. If that's the case, I'm going to give you some, this is going to relate to you. But if you want to start a consulting business or a coaching business or whatever it is, you want to, own a restaurant, you need to start creating small wins on a daily basis instead of being like, well, I got to open this restaurant next week, or whatever it is. I still believe that it starts internally, right? You really need to focus on you first before all these other changes are going to take place. So change who you are and who you're becoming, more importantly, who you're becoming by creating these small wins. So what are some things that you can do? Get up earlier. Get up earlier. You can, by giving yourself an extra half hour or hour in a day, you can start doing the activities that will create small wins. Sleep is important. I get it. But you need to if you want to reach your goals and hit your goals, you need to sacrifice. And sleep is going to be one of those things. Not to the detriment of your health. You still need to get enough rest. So go to bed earlier. I go to bed before 10 o'clock every night. Like my wife and I are up in bed a little bit after 9:30. I get up at 5:30 in the morning. I used to get up earlier and then I kind of stretched it to 5. So somewhere between 5 and 5:30. And that's enough sleep for me. And then I use that time to do things to better myself. Okay. I'm not going to go through my full morning routine here, but I do meditate. I do work out. I do make sure that I put proper things in my body. I take time in the morning to educate myself. I'll do some reading. I'll read some affirmations. Sometimes I'll do some visualization, but I take the time for myself. And that, if you can do that every single morning, you'll put yourself in a great position to win the day. And if you can, like I said, if you can win a bunch of days in a row, stack good days in a row, you'll start building some really, really awesome momentum. So I just gave you a bunch of things that you could do personally for yourself. I went through my routine. Maybe I'll leave my morning routine in the show notes. That's probably a good idea. I'll leave my current routine, which has changed over the years. I used to have like a 2-hour routine. Now it's down to about an hour, and it still is effective, and I still get a lot out of it. So have a routine, do things for yourself, and then you'll put yourself in a great position to win the day. It's hard to screw up the day if you're doing exactly what I just mentioned. For real estate, okay? So when I first started in real estate, this is while I was still working my full-time job. One of the big needle movers for me on a daily basis was to make sure that I was communicating with sellers, right? Like, I'm trying to buy people's houses. I'm trying to get homes under agreement. There's only one way to do that. You got to talk to sellers. You have to talk to them. And my business, where I buy properties using creative financing strategies, you have to talk to sellers. So on a daily basis, I had time blocks that I had to call X number of sellers. Okay. And I was trying to call anywhere from 75 to 100 sellers per week. Seemed like a big number. So I just broke it down. I broke it down by the day. Okay, I'm going to try to get to 10 today and hit my minimums. And by the end of the week, I'd have, 50, 75, sometimes 100, because you get on a roll, right? If you set your minimum to 10, I'd get to 10 and I'd end up making 15, sometimes 20 in one single day. And you can absolutely do that if you stay focused and committed and don't let the outside distractions come in. You can certainly do that. Another thing you can do, and again, we're trying to do something different on a daily basis. We're trying to do something different. If you're doing the same thing over and over and you're not getting any results, well, you have to look at what it is that you're doing and look at doing something different. Get uncomfortable, get out of your comfort zone. Networking with people can be very uncomfortable for a lot of people. But if you're kind of stuck in your little group, your little circle of people that you feel comfortable with, and nobody's really pushing you, and you're all kind of in the same, income level and same status in life, and you don't want to be there anymore, you need to look at that group. You need to get in a different room. You need to get around different people, okay? And people that are above you and that can push you, okay? So network with, make it a goal to network with 3 new people each week, 7 days in a week. Reach out to, it's easy to network with people. I mean, social media is one of the easiest things or easiest tools to use to network with people and to reach out with people. And you'd be surprised when you reach out to people and ask them, like, hey, I see that you're very successful, or, you've got a really great business. Would you mind if I asked you some questions about it? Like, how did you get there? Don't say, can I pick your brain? That drives people crazy. But I can tell you that as an entrepreneur, I love when that happens to me. Like, ask me questions about how I got to where I am right now, because I do want to help people, because I was in that situation where I was stuck. I was running around on the treadmill for years and years and years, and I just needed some help. I needed some mentorship. I needed advice. And people who have gotten to a certain level or gotten to the next level, they were definitely where you were at some point. So they're willing to help because they know that because they likely had help too. So I hope that's helpful in terms of how you can really start to look at creating these small wins, or just have the mindset that you need to look at it from a very, very daily basis. Like, look at this from a daily basis. Like, what am I going to do today? Forget about tomorrow. Like, today is today. And then also forget about yesterday, because if you didn't do anything to, move the needle in your life yesterday, that's okay. You got to let it go. You got to let it go. You got to wake up tomorrow and you got to try it again. Okay. And be focused and committed and dedicated. And if you, again, stack enough of those winning days together, you're going to see this just, think of it like pushing a rock up a hill, right? A big rock up a hill, slowly, slowly, slowly. You're pushing up the hill. Then you get to the top and all of a sudden it just rolls down the hill. That's what can happen in your life if you just stay focused and you stay committed to the process, right? And the process is just having all these good days and putting yourself in a position to win all of these days. And that's not just both for business, but also personally as well. Like you gotta do both, right? Work on yourself first and foremost, and that will really spill over into the rest of your life. When I started my transformation, which is what I'm talking about here, how I transformed my life, and I use that hour in the morning to transform my life. And by the way, you're going to see a book, a new book that I wrote, How to Transform Your Life in 1 Hour a Day. It's going to talk about all these things we're talking about. It's coming out very, very soon. So stay tuned for the new book. It's going to talk in depth about the things that I did on a daily basis, the things that I do on a daily basis to really move the needle in your life. So what started happening for me was my relationships got better. Number one, my relationship with my wife, my relationship with my son, my relationship with my family, with other people, the way that I handled situations as opposed to, the past. So like when negative situations arose or negative people were in my life, I just handled it so much differently. And I started to become aware of that. Before, I wasn't even aware of what I was doing, of how I was reacting or how healthy or not healthy my relationships were. So really getting clear and getting aware, and that came from meditation and counseling. And yes, I do see a counselor, and it's something that I've been doing for several years now. And it's a great outlet for me, and I will continue to go because it's just, I look at it as working. Like there isn't something that's broken with me or that needs to be fixed. Like I'm trying to grow. It's about growth. So don't ever look at counseling or anything like that as a negative. Like I go for growth to try to improve my life. Even though I have a great relationship with my wife and my son, it can continue to get better, and it will get better. But you have to work at it. You have to continue to work at it and stay focused and committed to the process. So I hope that's helpful. Maybe I went a little bit longer than I had talked about at the beginning of the episode, but this is really, really important, and I wanted to share it with you today. And hopefully you get a nugget or two out of it that you can start implementing into your life right away. And again, look for the book coming out soon. Do subscribe to the YouTube channel if you have not already. I really, really appreciate you tuning in to the show. And I hope you have an excellent, excellent day.